What's up, party people, and welcome to STONIECAST number 210 and season 6, episode 36, the season finale of Thoughts and Hunches, making money in bunches and sucker punches. It's your boy Stony coming back at you for the 210th time, and I'd like to welcome all of my fellow scumbags, criminals, hoodlums, lowlifes, shady characters, heathens, fugitives from justice, scoundrels, altar boys with unhealthy relationships with their priests, hustlers, wise guys, hooligans, foul-mouthed raging alcoholics, MLB players that have got into a fight with Bryce Harper. You know who you are. Thank you for watching. Cheats, gangsters, fienders with abusive language, and degenerates. Let's face it, anybody with a massive gambling problem. If you're new to the show, hey, congratulations, because you probably fit into one or a few of those categories, so welcome. Because you're now one of us. One of us. One of us. Gooba gabba, one of us. We accept it. What? Know the reference. That's all I have to say. Now, hey, make sure to hit the subscribe button right down here in the lower right-hand corner and ring that bell. That way you can get notified every time I put out a new video. To spread the word's also very easy. Just tell other fienders, degenerates, and scumbags you know, kind of like Josh, to go to YouTube and enter Thoughts and Hunches in the search bar. That'll take you directly to my page and you can get dialed into everything that I give you. Also, if you're new and you don't know what's what with this channel, it's college and pro football winners, MLB playoff winners, and college basketball winners. And I just give you picks. No player props and absolutely no parlays ever. Why? Because I don't like giving money away. I don't. Because that's all you're doing when you're doing parlays, right? The books don't expect a guy like me to deliver this many winners. I'm an outlier and I'm a disruptor. I'm like the Beastie Boys. I disrupt.
Step inside the party, disrupt the whole scene.
That's what I do. I go to the mattresses and get the info for you every week in order to get you to the window with a ticket to cash. Now, before I get to the picks, as usual, I have some thoughts.
Give me all you got. Listen, give me all you got.
Oh, Vincent, that a kid. All right, let me begin by thanking everyone for watching, listening, liking, commenting, tweeting, twatting, and whatever else you're doing to check me out 36 times a year throughout 6 seasons. Even the haters, and there's plenty of them, who love to hate on my picks, right? That's fine. Keep them coming. I do not mind that, right? I look forward to doing them. And I'm just trying to make you all some money because I certainly am. And I've been getting paid all season long. So as this is the last STONIECAST of the season, one more time I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. All right? Next up, I want to wish all of you that celebrate today a very happy Easter with your freaking Easter bunnies that have absolutely nothing to do with Jesus rising from the dead, whatever, to each their own. Yeah, I said that. Anyway, happy Easter Sunday, and I hope you all enjoy your day. If you're like me, an Orthodox Christian, today's Palm Sunday, with Easter being next Sunday, and I'm going to, as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to take a shower, get dressed, and head off to church for Palm Sunday. Now, as for President Trump's executive order targeting college sports on Friday, there's a lot to unpack here, and I'll try to do my best to explain it to you. In the second executive order aimed at fixing college sports, it's laying out a specific transfer and eligibility rules, limiting how athletes can be compensated for their NIL, and they're threatening schools that violate these rules with significant financial penalties. He signed it on Friday ahead of the Final Four weekend, and less than a month after he convened a roundtable of college sports and business leaders to discuss concerns, big picture solutions, and potential federal legislation. The order's mandates, like limiting college athletes to one unrestricted transfer as undergraduates and placing a 5-year cap on eligibility, will not take effect until August 1st. Most notably, though, the order poses the possibility of federal funding being withheld from schools that don't comply with the rules. An executive order cannot establish new laws or override existing state laws. some of which are contradicted by the directives of this order. The order also conflicts with the previous court rulings and NCAA decisions, like the ones allowing multiple immediate transfers, which has caused college sports to go into upheaval. For several years now, college sports leaders have been lobbying lawmakers for a federal law to help regulate compensation, eligibility, and other parts of college sports that have been thrown into upheaval by antitrust lawsuits and state laws. The SCORE Act, for instance, is a bill that would provide antitrust protections and preempt state laws that target rules set by the NCAA and conferences and prevent college athletes from being deemed employees, which they are, has been in limbo in the House of Representatives since last summer. Right? Now, while this bill has some bipartisan support backing in the House, even with a Republican majority, it has not generated enough support to reach the floor for a debate and a vote. Now, I doubt the SCORE Act is ever going to make it through the Senate because it's going to need 60 votes and big-time Democratic support, which it won't get. As for this executive order, it can't provide an antitrust exemption, and the president's order didn't touch the subject of employment. Instead, it offered a more targeted solution to particular problems. The order calls for athletes to be permitted to transfer just once as undergraduates and be immediately eligible to play for a new school, while a second transfer would then require the athlete to give up a year of eligibility without competing. Graduate students would get one additional free transfer once they get a 4-year degree, and those can be made easily even if you're not going to class. Hey, this guy graduated, he went to class, here's his degree. He's 25, 26, he wants to come play. The new order also gives athletes 5 years to compete in college with no exceptions. The NCAA currently has a waiver process that allows schools to request additional years of eligibility for athletes that sustain injuries. Athletes have now been taking their shots with judges if their waiver requests are denied by the NCAA, and it's created 26 and 27-year-olds still playing in the NCAA because they're basically being paid for play as employees, though not legally, with all of them having 1-year contracts and unlimited free agency. For instance, Ole Miss quarterback Trinidad Chambliss is set to play this season as a 26-year-old after a Mississippi judge granted his request for a preliminary injunction and essentially overruled the NCAA's decision to deny him a 6-year of eligibility. Meanwhile, judges in Virginia and here in Tennessee denied similar requests from quarterbacks Chandler Morris and Joey Aguilar. The bottom line is that this executive order will not change federal law immediately and will likely be held up in courts for years. But it is intended to be more comprehensive and instructive than the SCORE Act. So we will see what happens. But at least someone, somewhere, President Trump, is trying to fix an obviously broken system. Now, yesterday's Final Four turned out to be anticlimactic. Right? Turned out to be a dud, a major, major dud. Right? Obviously, unless you had the right sides, then it clearly wasn't a dud. But as far as excitement and stuff like that, it just didn't happen. Neither game was good, and they lacked drama. Sure, Illinois made everyone pause late in the first game, but UConn was in control throughout. Illinois cut it to 4, but never got any closer, as the Huskies pulled away after making a team record 12 three-pointers to build their lead and ultimately hold on to it. Here's something interesting about that game. Illinois freshman Keaton Wagler and Connecticut freshman Braylon Mullins became only the second freshman from opposing teams to score at least 15 points in the Final Four in the history of the tournament. Only the second time. You know who the first ones were? You may have heard of them. It was 1982, and it was Patrick Ewing of Georgetown and some skinny kid named Michael Jordan from North Carolina. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Now, while I hit the under in the first game, my Illinois bet was dead early. And like I said, Illinois may have made things interesting late, but I never really had a shot there. Then came the nightcap and the much anticipated main event of the Final Four Saturday, with 2 number 1 seeds and the 2 best teams in the country facing off in what was going to be a shootout. I'd been hearing all week about how this was going to be a war and was going to define this year's tournament. Well, it didn't. Michigan jumped out to a 10-1 lead to start the game, led by as many as 18 in the first half. And Arizona was never in it before getting crushed in a game that was clearly over by halftime. Both teams came in with a plus 20 points per game differential, which was the first Final Four game like that in 46 years, dating back to 1980. But it certainly didn't play like it. Because of that, I believe the ratings are going to take a hit. Because if you were watching in the second half, what the hell were you thinking? Well, you must have had some prop bets going on, because Michigan more than earned their spot in tomorrow's championship, as did Connecticut. Now, as for the week that was, I began the week with a 3-1 Wednesday in college basketball's Crown tournament, and another 3-1 on Thursday. But I went 1-3 on the NIT on Thursday, leaving me 7-5 heading into yesterday. I stumbled to a 1-3 in the Final Four, but I went 3-1 in the other tournaments, so I'm now sitting at 11-9 for the week. What I do today and tomorrow will determine whether or not I close the season on a 17-week heater. All right, so let's take a peek at the overall numbers for the season. Attaboy, Al. Okay, last week, 11 wins, 9 losses, like I said. 55% is winning, but we'll see how close. We'll see how I close. It's going to be interesting. Today and tomorrow are going to decide it. NCAA sides during the tournament. 38 wins, 28 losses. 56 games. That's 57.57%. 66 games. Is good. That's a good, solid number, 57.57. I'll gladly take that. NCAA tournament totals, just absolutely mind-boggling. 43 wins, 21 losses, 2 pushes, 67.19%. It absolutely does not get much better than that. NIT, actually the other tournaments, not NIT, but everything combined. 23 wins, 13 losses, 63.89%. That's just awesome. Now, for the season numbers, these are the numbers I haven't given you in a while because their seasons have been over. But just as a refresher, NCAA basketball regular season, 738 wins, 529 losses, 7 pushes, 58.25%. NCAA conference tournaments, 109 wins, 80 losses, 2 pushes, 57.67%. NFL for the entire season, 187 wins, 129 losses, 3 pushes, 59.18%. One of my best years ever in the NFL. NCAA football, whole season. This is a record for me. 244 wins, 155 losses, 8 pushes, good for 61.15%. MLB playoffs in October didn't do so well. 61 wins, 52 losses, 1 push, 53.98%, but it's still a profit. So overall, this season, all 35 episodes and 2,600 total plays, 1,411 wins, 975 losses, and 17 pushes, good for 59.14%. That's above 59, which was the ultimate goal all season, and I've only done once before. And that can, once you dissect it, it can mean only one thing.
Wow, winning.
That's how it goes. Once again, I want you to remember that all these picks are 100% free. So for all the touts out there that are charging you for picks and giving you 75 to 80% winners documented, guaranteed, just stop, all right? We all know you're full of shit, and you're charging for these picks.
Oh!
I mean, really? With me, it's very simple. I give you my picks for free. Just come to YouTube, right? Plus, I want you all to know that these are all bets that I am personally going to make with my own money. So I'm not just throwing darts at a board and blindly picking random games. You ready? All right. Away we go. Episode number 36.
Just win, baby.
Al Davis. Still doing it. Well, still having an impact. Before I get to tomorrow night's NCAA National Championship, we have 2 more championship games going on today. All right, we'll get it started at 5:30 Eastern today on Big Fox with the College Basketball Crown Championship at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, where Oklahoma's a 3.5-point chalk over West Virginia, and the total set at 137.5. This tournament is all about payout in NIL dollars, or pay for play, if you will. Yesterday's semifinal losers get $50,000 each, and the loser of today's title game gets $100K. The winner gets $300,000, which this team will not see, these players are never going to see. But it's playing for a title and money for the university's future, for next year's NIL. Oklahoma slipped by Colorado in overtime in Wednesday's quarterfinal and took out Baylor easily yesterday to get to the title game. West Virginia got a miracle foul call to beat Stanford on Thursday, and they cruised past Creighton yesterday. So this is the last game for a lot of these players, including Oklahoma's 26-year-old Nigel Pack, mercifully. Both teams are physical, but even if the books think this is a low-scoring affair, I don't. I like West Virginia catching 3.5 with a little sprinkle on the money line.
Sprinkle me, man. Sprinkle me, man.
There you go. Attaboy, 40. It's the last time we're going to get sprinkled this year. And while I'm at it, I'm going to take over 137.5. Now, also tonight, the NIT Championship game goes at 8 Eastern on the Deuce. At Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, as Auburn's a 5.5-point favorite versus Tulsa, and the total's 159.5. I thought Tulsa was an NCAA tournament team about a month ago, but then they just turned out to be struggling down the stretch.
Struggling.
Joe.
Struggling.
I knew that was you. One more time, Joe.
Struggling.
Thanks, Joe. Really needed that one. Now, there was also a big stink about Auburn, who I didn't believe that they belonged in the tournament and are using it as fuel as they attempt to win the not invited tournament. Auburn took out South Carolina and Seattle in the first 2 rounds, beat Nevada on Wednesday in the quarterfinals, and knocked off Illinois State in the semis on Thursday. Tulsa's wins here were over Stephen F. Austin and UNLV in the first 2 rounds, and backed it up by beating Wichita State on Tuesday and New Mexico on Thursday's semifinal. Auburn seems like a team possessed right now and are playing well, and as far as I'm concerned, should win this one. But there's something about Tulsa this year that I like. So I'm going to ride with the Golden Hurricane, catching 5 and a hook to go with under 159.5. Now, moving on to tomorrow night's NCAA National Championship game. It all gets going at 8:50 Eastern on TBS at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, as Michigan's a 7.5-point favorite over Connecticut, and the total's listed at 144.5. Michigan's seeking their first title since Glenn Rice led the Wolverines back in 1989 with Ramil Robinson and head coach Steve Fisher. That was their only win in national championship game, right? As they're 1-6 all time playing for all the marbles, which is the worst record for any team with at least 4 appearances ever. Michigan won the Midwest Regional this time with wins over Howard and St. Louis in the first weekend and Alabama and Tennessee last week before curb stomping of Arizona in last night's Final Four. Now, they've scored at least 90 points in all 5 games so far, becoming the first team to ever accomplish that. And now, looking back, their loss to Purdue in the Big Ten Championship was the best thing that ever happened to the Wolverines, as they refocused and have since cruised. The closest game they played in this tournament was the 13-point takedown of Alabama in the Sweet 16. As first-team All-American and Big Ten Player of the Year, Yaxel Lendeborg has led the way. Now, Lendeborg was injured yesterday after playing only 5 minutes in the first half, but he fought through it to make some clutch baskets in the second half to keep Arizona at arm's length. But he is injured, and even if he plays tomorrow night, which he will, he ain't going to be at full strength. The fact that Michigan beat a team as good as Arizona so easily, basically without Lendeborg, is striking. Big man Adai Mara, who I call the traitor, because he left UCLA because they couldn't match Michigan's $10 million war chest, which is what it's known as. Michigan used this war chest to build this team. And Mara had a career game last night as he dominated to the tune of a career-high 26 points and added in 9 rebounds. He's joined in the front court by Lendeborg and manchild Morez Johnson Jr., forming the best front line in the nation and the best paid as well. The backcourt for the Wolverines has been a question mark all season with Nick Burnett and Elliot Cadeau. But you couldn't tell last night as they thoroughly dominated Arizona's superior backcourt. Now, a lot can be made of Michigan's offense with guys like Trey McKinney coming off the bench with 16 last night while filling in for the injured LJ Kaysen. But Michigan's defense dominated Arizona's offense by turning them over and never, ever allowing Arizona to get into a groove. Head coach Dusty May led Florida Atlantic to the Final Four 3 years ago, but he left basically because of Michigan's war chest. Now, Connecticut, they won the East region with wins over Furman and UCLA a couple weeks ago, Michigan State and Duke last weekend, and Illinois yesterday. The Huskies are seeking their third national title in 4 years, and as a school are a very impressive 6-0 all-time in national championship games, which is the most without a loss by any program ever. 2-point loss to eventual national champion Florida last year, in last year's second round, is in the way of UConn seeking a four-peat tomorrow. Think about that for a minute. They lost by 2 to Florida in the second round. Otherwise, they'd be seeking their 4th straight national championship. Let that sink in. Senior forward Alex Caravan is a terrifying 18-1 in the NCAA tournament. And he's joined up front by big man Terrace Reed Jr., who's been the best player of the tournament so far. Head coach Danny Hurley's 3-guard offense of Solo Ball, Silas Demery Jr., and Braylon Mullins is very streaky, but they were really feeling it yesterday. UConn gets help from a few guys off the bench, but this is a team that relies on defense, toughness, and rebounding to wear down their opponents. The way they systematically beat up Illinois yesterday was extremely impressive and had Hurley's fingerprints all over it. It also helps that the Huskies absolutely filled it up from 3 yesterday. Tempo is the key here, as if this game turns into a track meet, it'll be another Michigan shellacking. But if UConn can set the pace and make it into a half-court game, they've got a shot. When it comes to handicapping this one, it comes down to a simple choice. Do you believe in UConn's grit and toughness, or are they just patsies in the way of Michigan cutting down the nets? I'm always an underdog guy, and I lean toward the dog, especially when they're getting so many points. But the Michigan freight train is absolutely rolling right now. Everyone saw what they did to an excellent Arizona squad yesterday, and who wants to get in front of that? But we also saw what Connecticut did to the Illini, who were very, very good. The Huskies may not pull it off, and I may be an idiot, but I'm going to dance with UConn, catching the big number of 7 and a chunk to go with 140 under 144.5 to close out the season.
Show me the money.
Attaboy. Oh, Rod Tidwell, God bless you. So that's it. There you have it. the final 3 games of my season and the NCAA season. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone for watching, liking, subscribing, commenting, hating, everything I do all season long. It's always fun for me, and I really look forward to it, especially when I'm making you all money. Now, sure, yesterday was on the brutal side of things, but in the long run, I delivered all season long to the tune of 59% winners, so now I get to spend all my winnings before I come back in late August for the start of college football season and the Season 7 premiere. So until then, just remember, if you want to win big, you got to bet big. Good teams win, but great teams cover. You can't go broke taking a profit. Scared money don't make money. The less you bet, the more you lose when you win. Shout out to Chris the Bear FALLICA. Now for me, the action is the juice.
But for me, the action is the juice. Amen.
I'm in, Mikey. The difference between winning and making money is that anyone can win betting chalk, but you can't make money unless you take the dogs. God made life a gamble, and we're still in the game. Shout out to the late, great Joe Diffie. There's money on the streets that can't be ignored. And finally, good luck to you. Gooch, miss you, brother. I miss you.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.